What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about UBIs, the Universal Basic Income, the dangers in it, and how it could ultimately lead to communism. So Universal Basic Income, or UBI, is a social welfare proposal in which all citizens of a given population regularly receive a minimum income in the form of unconditional transfer payment, i.e. without means test or need to work. In contrast, a guaranteed minimum income is paid only to those who do not already receive income that is enough to live on. A UBI would be received independently of any other income if the level is sufficient to meet a person's basic need, i.e. at or above the poverty line. There have been numerous pilot projects and the idea is discussed in many countries. So UBI, or Universal Basic Income, is social welfare. Some have labeled UBI as utopian due to the historical origin. So now that you know what a UBI is, I want you to focus on that last sentence. So now we're going to dig a little bit deeper to understand why some people would think a UBI would be utopian in nature. And by that, we're going to look at the pros and cons of a UBI. On this website by economicshelp.org, it has the pros and cons of a UBI listed. The pros: simple and efficient to administer, avoid poverty traps of means tested benefits. Poverty traps are like this. We all know that the economy right now is not the best. A lot of people out there are hard workers, so they can't really partake in some of the benefits that the government gives out. They make too much to get social welfare benefit, but they don't make enough to actually make ends meet. So they would have to quit their jobs or get a lower paying job in order to get funds from the government, i.e. a poverty trap. Reduces the economic poverty and homelessness. It encourages socially beneficial tasks such as old age care. It encourages individuals to take risk and set up businesses. The cons: could encourage laziness, could discourage part-time work. The poverty trap: cost higher than current benefit system, leading to higher taxes. If you look at the pros, how are you going to open up a business in an economy that has higher taxes? Income taxes could lead to disincentiveness to work. Why would you open a business or take the risk when they're going to pay you to live anyway? Or could lead to welfare support from undesirables like criminals. So there goes the pros and cons. On one hand, you say that having that extra money could help you take more risk and benefit. It's kind of hard to understand because on one hand, you say you have the extra pocket money to take more risk and open more businesses, with the other hand saying that you're going to pay more taxes when you open up that business. It's not going to work. You can't tax your way out of everything because the people very hard in the blood of the society, the small business owner, relies on taxes being lower or more affordable. But then you have a UBI system that does not encourage more taxes. They can't really operate with a lower tax base because they have to have somewhere for this money to come from. So now we have California being one of the states that actually has a pilot program trying the UBI system. It says $750 a month was given to homeless people in California. What they reported spending it on is more evidence that universal income works. So they had some questions. What happens when homeless people are given $750 a month for a year? Participants in the study reported being more likely to find shelter and closer to meeting basic needs. Results from the study of the first 6 months appear to show effectiveness of a basic income plan. And who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want an extra $750 a month? It sounds good at first. Nobody's going to just not take $750 a month. The newly released results of the first 6 months of the study, the impact of basic income and social support intervention show how recipients spent an influx of cash. The findings appear to be the latest piece of the evidence showing that benefits of a basic income plan. Those who receive $750 a month stipend were less likely to report being unsheltered and said they would be closer to having enough money to meet all their basic needs. This is also the other issue with UBI, or other basic income. Who determines what a person's living wage is? Who determines what the basic need threshold is? One person's basic need is not another person's basic needs. Who's to say that that threshold for one person wouldn't change from year to year? Who decides what's enough for that person? These are some of the things people need to think about when thinking about a basic income or a UBI plan. I want you guys to pay attention to this. The study, conducted in San Francisco nonprofit Miracle Messages and University of Southern California, those receiving $750 stipend reported spending the higher share, 36.6 on food in the first 6 months. Participants on average reported spending nearly 20% on housing 12.7% on transportation, and 11.5% on clothing, and 6.2% on healthcare, and 13.3% on expenses that were not classified. That's the part you guys need to pay attention to. What are they spending on the 13%? I have an idea why. I think you do too. The study goes on from there, but what you guys are really saying is they always focus in on the good. Well, it works. These people say they're okay, and the $750 is working for them. Like I said again, California, what's $750 really going to do for you a month? Anybody would be happy to get free money in their pocket, let alone $750. Who wouldn't want $750? I would take it too. But this is the part. Everybody thinks that $750 is free money. Nothing is free, especially in America. Anything in life is not free. It's going to cost somebody their time, and it's going to cost somebody else that money. That money isn't just pulled out of nowhere. Although we have people that print money all the time, that money has to be recouped out of people's taxes. And of course, taxes will rise. And like I said, no article will ever tell you the cons of a system like this. It will always tell you the good parts, but they will never tell you the horrible parts. That a program like this is a socialist program. And if you really pay attention, and if you do your research, socialism is always a precursor to communism. And you ask me, why you say that? Why, how could socialism is good? All socialism does is eat the rich. It makes you disperse all the money at the top and give it all to the poor people and all of the underprivileged people at the bottom, and make a even kilted utopian society where nobody has to worry about anything, and the government will always take care of you and always make sure that your needs are met, right? Well, we're going to look into what socialism is in the form of what America always, or the groups in America always would think or talk about when they're talking about socialism, and that is democratic socialism. So what is democratic socialism? Democratic socialism is a version of socialism wherein the economy is socialist, production and wealth are generally collectively owned, right? So everybody in this society, in this democratic socialist society, owns all of the wealth. Per the definition, that's what they do. But the government is the democracy. Democratic socialism is opposed to authoritarian forms of governance, and democratic socialists believe that the government should help provide basic needs to all of the country's citizens, such as healthcare and education, for free or at a reduced cost. Now, some people would think that we're already in such a system. Think about the public school system. The public school system is free. Look how good that is, and look how good that's going. Even in that everybody is collectively owned the wealth in the country, right? But at the same time, they believe that the government should help provide basic needs for all of the citizens. How are you going to have a country that owns everything, but then all of the responsibility is put back on the government that you said you didn't want to have any responsibility? You didn't want them to have any other wealth. You want the wealth to trickle down, but at the same time, you want the government to take care of you and all of your basic needs. That will never work. I'm a person that believes in balance and being equal. I'm extraordinary balance, hence the name Aaron EBM. Life in the world has to be yin and yang. It will never balance, will never stay steady when you have an uneven equation. What will ultimately happen when you have a situation or you have a government that is democratic socialist? It will ultimately turn into communism. So a lot of people ask, what is communism? Is communism a form of socialism? We're going to read it right here. While related, socialism and communism are different. Socialism, for instance, seeks to bring equality, right? What we said before, they want everything dispersed equally to the means of production to the working class. Communism takes a step further and revolutionizes both aspects of production and consumption in that respect. Communism can be viewed as a more extreme version of socialism. And what do they mean by an extreme form of socialism? Even these articles won't tell you. What's going to happen is they're going to make you seem like you own everything, right? They're going to give you this blanket world where everything is equal and given. Who controls the dispersion of said funds? Who actually owns the land? Who actually owns the properties? Who actually owns the wealth that they're distributing down to everybody else in that said country? See, that's what happens. There always has to be somebody that governs the community, and that will be the government. In the end, socialism aims to make you believe that everybody is equal and everybody is free, but they will always be that hand over you. They will always be that grasp of big government. And that's what will happen to a country that enters in to a democratic socialist government. You will never be 100% free to do whatever you want and to own everything. Otherwise, there would be no need for the government at all. And they're not going to give you the time of day to believe that you will ever have 100% freedom and autonomy outside of them giving you what they believe that you need. And like I said, you remember, guys, I said that nothing in life is free, not UBI, not incentives, not any of it. It's because it's going to cost you something. What happens to people that rely and believe in the government so much for their basic needs? They begin to believe that they cannot live, they cannot operate, they cannot go from day to day without the government's hand helping them to survive. And when you get to that point, what else would you give up to have those said benefits? You give up your right to protect yourself? Would you give up your right to privacy? Would you give up your right to have free speech? Would you give up your right to? Some people wouldn't, but there's a lot of people that will. That's the problem with universal basic income. That's the problem with other programs like it. Don't be fooled into thinking that the government will give you anything free. Always be as self-sufficient as you can, because in the end, you'll never get those freedoms back. You'll never get those rights back. And that's the best part about living in America. All right, people, I'm glad you came and listened to my video today. Thank you for watching it. And if you liked it, make sure you hit that like button to do all the rest of the stuff. Until next time, everybody. Peace.